YouTube, it's Tom back with another one for you. Now, this one here is a continuation of Meet Your Strawman. Crucial information in all this material. Um, it's enlightening information and giving you information on different perspectives on you know who it is that you're dealing with and different examples of how to deal with them in more of a business aspect rather than taking things personal, because it really all is just business. This shit is all a fucking game. It's all for you to learn. It's all happening for you, not to you. And when you understand that, then you can have the situation turn out more in your favor rather than kind of being subjected to the fuckery. You can direct it or guide it. And it all comes down, really, to me personally, I believe that the best thing you can do is to state your position initially, primarily, prior to coming into contact with any of these public servants, which you know you're going to come in contact with these motherfuckers. Unless you live under a goddamn cave, I don't want to hear none of that private shit, private this, private that. At some point, you're going to come in contact with one of these fucking people. You will. And what the fuck are you gonna say? You know what I'm saying? You should already have your fucking position already on file with these motherfuckers. You should already have secured your fucking strawman commercially and let these motherfuckers know that they cannot touch it. These are aspects of the game that you should already have done as a preventative measure for potential contact in the future, which you know you will have unless you live in a fucking cave. Like me, I've been on a goddamn mountain for the past couple years doing my meditation and working on me. You know, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to do that. I get that everybody doesn't have that opportunity. So, probably you work fucking 9 to 5. Every day you're in the fucking public. You see these motherfuckers every day. So, every day the odds fucking increase of you having to fucking deal with these pieces of shit. And all of them are not pieces of shit, but I'm saying that how they treat you is like the attitude of a piece of shit. So, you should already have your shit in place. That's what I'm getting at. So anyway, let's get into this shit. Dealing with the police. Years ago, a policewoman was your friend and defender. Things have changed now that police forces have become commercial organizations dedicated to producing a profit by taking money from you in the form of speeding fines, parking fines, and any number of other charges. It was stated on national TV recently that in the last 13 years, 3,000 additional offenses have been invented. They invent charges every day to create criminals. Criminals are not born, they're fucking created by a bunch of dickheads in a room by themselves with a pen and a piece of fucking paper. What relevance does that have on you? Absolutely none, unless you think it does. And they want you to think it does. You know what I'm saying? As each individual police force is a commercial company, in a way like a McDonald's restaurant in strategy, it has no authority to enforce anything any more than a McDonald's has. The men and women who work under the banner of their local police force have two separate roles. When they take up their occupation, they take an oath of office, pledging to uphold the law. That oath and nothing else gives them the authority to act to enforce common law. That is, the few things which are listed near to the start of the legalese section above. It does not authorize them to do anything connected with so-called government statutes, so that they have been trained to use legalese to entrap uniformed members of the public. To be fair, it is highly likely that members of the police force are not aware of what they're doing. And I'm sure that that's the case, because we've all been fucking mind control programmed to believe that they're doing the right thing. And I get it, because you guys need a fucking job and you do what the fuck they tell you. But you have to know deep down that shit is not right. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that something wasn't right with that shit a few years back when I started studying this shit to figure out what the fuck is going on. I figured it out. Alright? So, and this is what the fuck it is. So, to be fair, it's highly likely that members of the police force are not aware of what's going on and do not understand the difference between legal statutes, which are optional, and the lawful common law requirements, which apply to everyone and are not optional. Okay? So, which is understood. Alright? So, maybe, hopefully this police officer is listening, maybe you should go ahead and read that oath that you signed and read that Constitution, because you probably didn't fucking read it. But know that these people are using you as fucking pawns, because they're not going to be the ones that have to deal with the bullshit of your actions. You are. Alright? You're going to have to deal with the fucking repercussions for all your actions. because you didn't do your due diligence and make sure that what you're doing is the right fucking lawful thing to do, not the legal thing to do. Okay? So please don't get me wrong. Most police and police women do a great job and assist members of the public, often above and beyond the requirements of their job, opposing bullying, intimidation, fraud, etc., and comforting in cases of bereavement or injury. And I'm not gonna lie, like, you know, cops do come in handy. You know what I'm saying? They've helped me a lot, and I don't treat them like assholes either. I know that they're just doing their fucking job. But in the end, does it really matter if fucking you don't know that you fucking violating me? It doesn't, because I still got violated. So I still gotta fucking deal with that. So do you think that you're off the hook for that? Absolutely not. So it's your fucking job to make sure that what you're doing is the right thing, not what these dickheads are telling you to do. All right? So admittedly, the commercial companies who control the police forces are working hard to end this sort of positive behavior, ending ridiculous health and safety regulations as an excuse, even to the extent that police officers are instructed to stand by and watch somebody drown and not attempt to save them. This is not the choice of the officer, but the instruction of the owners of the company. Okay. So because these thousands of invented offenses don't apply to anybody unless they agree to be bound by them, it becomes essential for a police officer to possibly inadvertently persuade members of the public to agree to subject himself to these unnecessary restrictions and agree to pay invented cash penalties to the local commercial company called the police force, which they're all commercial fucking entities. File a W-9 with your local police department and all the courts and all that shit too. You should always have those on hand. Have all their EINs and tax identification numbers, because any transaction between these fucking people is a taxable transaction. And let the IRS criminal investigations know that these people are doing business with you without providing all of their information, and watch what the fuck happens to these people. All right, they think that they're untouchable. Yeah, right. If you were a real government, you guys wouldn't worry about the IRS criminal investigation division, would you? Would you? You wouldn't. So, because, come on, cut it out. So the normal first attempt to establish this spurious dominance of a police officer is by him asking your name. This is not an innocent question, and it is essential that you are careful in what you say, as there are legalese booby traps all over the place. And there is, and there's a ton. So you need to know, you know, it's better the enemy that you know than the enemy that you don't know, because what you don't know can kill you. Okay? Know that. So one suitable reply: the law does not require me to provide that information, which is entirely correct and avoids pitfall number one. And no matter how often the question is asked, the answer is always the same. It is important not to argue with police officers, and that is another legalese booby trap, which makes you subject to the thousands of hateful regulations designed to part you from money. So only answer the questions ideally with a non-aggressive question, and don't volunteer any information. I do not give these motherfuckers my address. If they're willing to give me their fucking home address, then I'll give them mine. That I will do. I'll fucking say that. So, because I don't fucking know who the fuck they are. Neither the fuck do you. You know what I'm saying? Come on. If the police officer says you are exceeding the speed limit, you could say, was I? As you don't argue, nor do you say that the common law does not require anyone to keep to post the speed limits, obey road signs, park only where directed, etc. Even though that is perfectly true, maxim arguments are for fools, and you're not required to do any of that shit. And I've discharged, I mean, personally, three parking tickets on my own. I've never done a traffic ticket, but I don't see why the fuck not. It's really not that difficult. I actually have a video on it. Scroll down, look at how to discharge any traffic ticket. Look at that video. That shit's on fire right now. As mentioned before, if the police officer asks, do you understand? And look, and just so you guys know, look, you wouldn't be able to discharge any of these shit if these people were rightfully charging you money and you actually owed them something. You wouldn't be able to discharge the shit and make it disappear. That's how you know it's as fake as the fucking person giving you the ticket. You know what I'm saying? So as mentioned before, if the police officer asks, do you understand? Your response should be no. I do not stand under this matter. As before, the question is a legalese trap and nothing whatsoever to do with understanding anything which has been said. Me personally, you know, I'm going to need to fucking supervise it on that motherfucker. I'm not going to sit on the side of the road and have an argument with some motherfucker who did not study law. It is beneath me to sit here and argue with some fucking idiot that did not study law but swears to God he knows what the fuck he's talking about. We're not even having that conversation. I'm taking names. I'm going to put you on notice as to my standing and what my fee schedule is. And if you decide to move forward at that point, then you fucking owe me money. Really that fucking simple. And trust me, I'm going to get that fucking money. I'm going to hit your fucking bonds up and all that shit. You think it's a game, bro? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that dumb shit. Alright, so under common law, An offense has only been committed if there is a victim. Somebody who has been injured or killed has possessions damaged or stolen, or has been defrauded. So if the police officer keeps pushing you to agree to pay his company money when you don't need to, then a good question might be, who is the victim? An alternative is to ask, what is the charge, or am I free to go? If you stick to these things, then the police officer has nothing to work on, as you have not agreed to be bound by statutes. You have not provided a name and address for him to write on an invoice, which I always use my passport because it doesn't have any address on it. And they fucking hate that shit. To the point where they made up a fucking address last time to send me a fucking summons to that I don't even live at. Bro, get the fuck out of here with that dumb shit. Get the fuck out of here with that. You will not have my address at all, ever, for any fucking reason, because you don't need it, and it's none of your fucking business. That's why, if you really want to know why I won't give it to you, because it's none of your fucking business. Period. So they will not have a name or an address to write on an invoice, right? But they'll make one up, the last known or some shit like that, right? Which is funny. And I mean, I sent them a letter. You know, I send them disrespectful shit sometimes too, because I'm only human too. I don't always deal with their shit properly. But fuck these people, really. If they want to get stupid and start sending random ass shit to me, well, then I'm going to send you some random ass shit, right? Yeah, well, somebody's got to be the bigger person. It's not always me, I'll tell you that. So they won't have an address to give you a fucking ticket or send it to or summon to, none of that. So that means that it's not in their jurisdiction, and they really can't fuck with you. And you have not entered into a controversy by arguing with him, or into dishonor by refusing him point blank. There is one other thing, and that is, without being aggressive or offensive in any way, you must not do anything which he tells you to do, because if you do, then those charming legalese people can see that you agree to stand under him and become subject to his legal but not lawful authority, and so become liable to those thousands of cunning plans called statutes, carefully crafted in order to rob you in a perfectly legal but not lawful way. Okay? So legal and lawful. They created a business called the legal system. It's legal because it's called the legal system, the same way that at fucking McDonald's would be called the McDonald's system. Really that simple. So it's legal, yeah, because that's the name of their business, but is it lawful? Absolutely not. Alright? So now you know. One thing which any police officer needs to become aware of is the fact that they do not have any security provided by the police force which employs them. In any situation which does not involve common law, the police officer is on his own, acting as an individual contractor, and such is wide open against him, either under common law, or he is acting unlawfully or civil or by civil action in his action if his actions warranted. Alright, so this is what I'm telling you. If you cops are listening, they don't give a fuck about you. They're using you as pawns, and nobody's gonna have your back because they can't. And it's only you that's gonna be fucked. Know that. Know that. That's why I do feel bad sometimes if I have to do something to one of these fucking people. But you have to understand that you're acting on your own fucking will here. Alright? So what, somebody fucking told you to do something? If they tell you to jump off a fucking bridge, are you gonna just go do it, or are you gonna fucking use your head about it? So think about what the fuck you're doing. If there is a failure to establish joinder, which is where a human voluntarily agrees to represent the strawman and so becomes subject to statutes, then the presumed authority of a police officer does not exist in any respect, and he is acting solely as an individual whose only authority is to enforce common law and nothing else. Alright? So this is the fucking extent of their jurisdiction and or power, and they have none unless you give it to them. You literally have to give them your fucking the fucking authority to move forward with you. Just like the devil can't just walk in your house, you gotta fucking invite him in. Demons the same, right? Same thing with these fucking demons. So, and that's exactly what they are. Look up the definition of public servant. It even says it right there. Fucking minions. Alright? Public servants are fucking minions. So go ahead and look that up. That's the legal definition. That's not even my personal opinion. So it's a game of chess. Stop playing checkers with these motherfuckers. That's what I got for you for now. Until we meet again.